What's up guys, today we're gonna build together the Facebook Navbar clone, and this will be totally responsive, built with only CSS and HTML. We'll be using Flexbox for the alignment and layout, so it's not gonna be that complicated to build, and even though it looks kind of intimidating, but it's actually really easy. So let's just jump right into the video. So as we start off, I'd first like to tell you that as I code, I want you to code along with me, because that way you'll actually have a really good practice and you'll also learn more. So starting off, I already have a boilerplate over here. As you can see, I have imported already my index.css file and this material icons CDN link, which you should as well, because this is what we'll be using for our icons. And by the way, if you're wondering how you can get them, I have left a link in the description. You can click on that, and when you reach there, when you click on that, you'll reach here, and under usage, copy this link and paste it in the head. So after you're done with that, let's just jump into the body, the main section. So as you can see, I already have 3 divs created, and by the way, this is not boilerplate, I've created this myself. So why do I have 3 divs called nav left, nav mid, and nav right? If you check out the navbar, you can see that the Facebook navbar is actually divided into 3 sections. The left side, which contains the Facebook logo and the entire the search bar, and then we have the middle section, which has the navigation menu, and the right side, which contains the avatar along with some buttons. So we'll work around each of them. We'll start off with the nav left. So in the left side, we'll first have to get the Facebook logo, and it's actually pretty simple to get that. You just need to search for Facebook. In Google, you'll just search Facebook Wikipedia, or just follow the link in the description, and you'll reach this page. So you'll right click on this image and copy image address. So now we have the link to the image copied. Now let's create an image tag over here, and I'll just copy the link in the source. Alt, I don't really need that. Okay, after the image we have, let's see, the search bar, and this search bar is actually a combination of the search input and a material icon, and both of these are wrapped around by a div. Why, you may ask? Because we can actually provide styles, this kind of rectangular circular thing, I don't know what you call this. So for that, you actually have to create a div. So I'll call it div and give it a class name of search. And inside this, I will actually go ahead and, let's see, import the material icon. So the way to import material icon is actually pretty simple. Create an I tag with a class of material icons. So this has to be the class, and then to use a certain icon, you can go to the website that I've linked in the description, and then you can select either of these icons. So I need the search icon, which should be somewhere around here. So I'll copy, for example, if this is the search icon, I'd copy this text and just paste it. So search, let's just type that, and let's see if we have what we wanted. just wait for it to reload, and you can see here that not do we only have the material icon, but also we have the Facebook logo. Great. And just beside the material icon, we have the search input. So let's create the input over here. Oops. Input of type text. Excuse my typos. Input of type text, and we'll have a placeholder saying search Facebook. Just like that. Save. So now we have something like this, and by the way, we have not used any CSS styles yet, so don't freak out if this looks ugly, because obviously it does. Don't worry, we'll just first create the HTML structure and then eventually work our way towards creating a perfect navbar using CSS. So our left section is actually done. Now we have to deal with the nav mid. So this actually has 4 icons, and I'm gonna surround each of these icons with an A tag, because I want, when I click them, I want them to redirect me to some other pages, right? So let's go to the nav mid, and first we'll create an A tag. And I'll give this A tag a class of icon, and inside this A tag I'll have an I tag, and just as you have guessed, we'll have a class of material icons, and I'll first copy and paste this like 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. Alright, then the first one is home. Second one is, I believe, slideshow. Third one is groups, and fourth one is gamepad. So groups and gamepad. Alright, done. So I guess we are done with our nav mid as well. Let's just double check. Yep, there we have it. So now let's deal with the right side of the navbar, which should actually also contain 2 divs, because one of which will contain the Mark Zuckerberg, the profile name, the avatar, and the second section should contain the buttons. So let's create another div with class of avatar. I have so many typos. I wonder if you guys also make such typing mistakes. Or maybe it's just me, because I'm an idiot. So anyways, avatar, and then the avatar section, the avatar div should have a avatar image and the name. So as a dummy content, I'm using Mark Zuckerberg. So I'll actually need an image of Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm actually too lazy to Google around an image of Mark Zuckerberg, so I'll just right click on this and copy image address. And for you guys, I'll actually leave the link to the picture in the in the description, so that you can access them without having to search, or you can just, use your own favorite picture of someone, maybe yourself. So let's create an image tag, and source of this, I'll also add a alt of, let's say, DP, just for fun. And I'll also add a class of, what should I call it? Avatar image. So that's the image for us. And below the image, beside the image, I'll have the name. So I'll create a span tag which will be surrounding a strong tag, and inside the strong tag we'll add the name itself, Mark. And in case you don't know what strong is, it's just a simple way to say font weight to bold. So I actually don't need to write any CSS for that. There you go. Huge picture of our favorite Mark Zuckerberg. Look at his smile. Wonderful. So what's left? Let's check. Now the buttons are the only ones left, and these buttons will also be inside a div of class, let's say buttons. Now also these buttons also need to be clickable, so I want them to redirect me or open up something. So we'll actually surround them with A tags just like with this. So let's create an A tag, and I won't actually use any classes for this. So inside that I'll create an icon class material icons, and I'll actually have to copy and paste this probably 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. And now let's see which icons we have to use. The first one's add, the second one's messenger, notifications, and then I'll have to search for that. Wait. So add messenger, notification, and the third one is going to be arrow drop down. So basically that is it. That's it for our structure. We are done with our HTML part. Now all we have to do is style our components. So let's just jump right into it. So now I'm done instantiating the whole HTML page. As you can see, I've added the border sizing to border box, padding to 0, margin to 0, font family to sans serif. This padding and margin part is actually really important, because this will actually remove all the default styling that is provided by the HTML, because we actually don't want that. We want our own styling. So after that, I've removed the text decoration and the color of the A tags, the links, because by default they are underlined and have a color of blue. After that, I have changed the color of the entire body to the background color of Facebook and a width of 100%. Now let's instantiate also the navbar. Alright, so after hundreds of typos and mistakes, I finally instantiated the navbar. So just a quick go through. The background color of the navbar, I want it to be white. The width of it should actually be 100% of the entire screen. The display method should be flex, so that all our content is actually in a single row. Justify content space between. This would I'll explain that to you a bit later. padding 5 pixel top and bottom, 10 pixel left and right. And I also added a box shadow of this color. So I'll just save this and let's see what we have here now. So you can see everything over here is now aligned in a single row, even though it's not that clear, but it is, and you'll see how later. So now let's start. Well, before we do actually everything else, let's just style the avatar image first, because this huge image of Mark Zuckerberg is actually preventing me from explaining a lot of the convention that I'm using. So let's design the avatar first. So we are done designing the avatar image. The height and the width should be the same so that the image is actually now a square. The border radius is 50%, which would give us the circular border. Object fit cover actually makes sure that the aspect ratio of the image is okay, and also so that the image is actually focused on the center. And we've also added a margin to the right of 5 pixels. So let's check out what we have now, and as you can see, this is what we have. And I believe I have done a mistake. Modifications, and arrow drop down. I hope everything's right now. Alright, great. So as you can see, this is what our avatar is looking right now. It's not done yet. So now let me explain what this space between does. So I'll just comment this line out and show you what would happen without this line. So as you can see, when we use the display to flex, everything is put up in the same row, and they are jam-packed together in the left, in the start of the flex direction. But we don't want that. We want some equal spaces among them. We want them to spread out with equal spaces. So for that we can use space between, which would add equal padding, equal margins between them, and spread them out across the whole screen. So that's what space between is for. Alright, so now that we have kinda good looking, well, it's not really good looking, but close to the original, navbar, we can now start with the left side of the navbar. So let's start that right now. So right now we have the nav left class with display flex and align out of center. So display flex would put everything inside the contents of the whole nav left section into a single row, and align item center would actually properly align them on the vertical axis. And then nav left, I'm targeting the Facebook logo. The height should be 40 pixels. Object fit contained would make sure that the aspect ratio of the image is the same, margin right of 5 pixels. Now our the logo is done. Now let's just design this search field and turn this into like this. Alright, so we are done with the search field. So let's just go through what I've done. Once again, if you remember, the search field actually has the search section actually has two parts: the logo, the icon, and the search input. So I have used the display flex over here and aligned them to the center vertically, and then I've provided the background color which Facebook typically has, padding of 15 pixels. I've added a border radius of 50 pixels, which would give it the shape, this bubbly shape, and I have a height of 40 pixels. And then for the input, I have removed the outline and the border, which is given by default. I also removed the background color and added a padding of 10 pixels to the left and right. So if we check, oops, I guess I didn't save it. I think I've done a mistake over here. Oh, I called it search. It should be nav search. Nav search. So now it should be okay. And as you can see, we have a beautiful search bar. So we are actually done with the left side, the left section. Now we need to deal with the middle section, where we have our navigation menu. So let's just deal with that first. Alright, we are done with designing the middle part. So let me just explain what I did. This is pretty simple. The entire container should have a display of flex and align everything to the center vertically. Then for each icon, and each icon I mean the entire thing, the icon and its container. So for the icon, I want a padding of 10 pixels top and bottom, and this is really important, 2.8 VW on left and right. So in case you don't know what VW is, VW stands for viewport width, and what this does is actually calculate. So 2.8 would actually mean 2.8% of the entire screen. So this takes on 2.8% of the entire screen, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8. And if I would use percentage over here, then it would actually occupy 2.8% of its container. So this is really important. Do not mess up. Do not get confused between viewport width and percentage. They are different. When you use percentage, you actually ask the HTML to space itself based on its container, and when you use viewport width, you want it to space itself depending on the size of the screen. I added a border radius of 5 pixels just for design, and a color of, I don't know what you call this grayish thing, dark gray, darker than the general Facebook color. And I also need to add a icon hover effect. I'll add it later. And then I also added a font size for each icon of 32 pixels. So let's see what we have created so far. And there you go, it looks beautiful. Now we're gonna also add a hover effect. So our icon hover is done. I added a background color of the general Facebook background color and a transition effect of ease in and out, which will go on for 1 second. 0.1 second. So let's check it out. And there you see, we have the hover effect done as well. Now, we are done with the left part, the middle part, and the only part that is left is the right part. And as I don't know if you remember, but right part is also divided into two divs, the avatar section and the button section. So we've already styled avatar a bit. Where is it? Avatar image a bit. So let's just finish this off. So we're also done with our avatar section. We've, just as always, did display flex and align and center. We've added margin, border radius. Border radius is for the the bubble effect, I don't know what you call that, this thing, and we added padding. And for hover effect, I've added a background color and a transition method, and I've already shown you what it looks like. It looks something like this, and I just realized I forgot to add one thing, which is display flex on the parent element, which is probably nav_right. So nav_right should have a display of flex. Let's see. Also align item center. Items to center. There you go. Now it looks much better. The only thing we have left are these buttons, so let's just finish them off. So we have finished off our buttons section. It's pretty simple. Display flex, align at center for the parent container, buttons for each icons over here. I've added a padding of 10 pixels, margin of 0 pixels, 1 pixels on the left and right, border radius of 50%, background color to the default Facebook background color, and finally the hover effect. And this time the hover effect's background color is a bit darker, and obviously the transition is easing enough. So now if we go and check our website, clean, totally clean and beautiful. You can see they both look the same. It looks amazing. It's beautiful, and I am proud of myself, and so should you if you have followed me this far. But wait, we are not done. We still have to make this responsive, because if I inspect this whole page, I'll show you what happens when it's in a smaller screen. So as you can see, at smaller screens, this total navbar freaks out, like, what the hell am I supposed to do right now? They don't know what to do, because I have not yet added media queries. So we have to deal with that. We have to actually now create some responsive stuff using media query. So let's get ready for that. If we view this properly, we can see that around, let's say, 720 pixels, it all gets super jumbled up, right? And we can eliminate some parts. Let's say we don't want to show the middle menu, the nav mid, when we are at 720 pixels. And also when we are at, let's say, around 900 pixels, we no longer want to show the search bar. We just want to show a circle around the search icon and a Facebook logo. So if I show you in the finished product what it would look like, so you see, as we grow smaller and smaller and smaller, at around 900 pixels, our search bar disappears. And then we go around 720 pixels, you see our entire the middle section actually disappears. And when we go to extremely small size, our avatar disappears, and that way we can make it fully responsive. So let's work on that. We'll first deal with we'll go from larger to smaller. So we'll first deal with the search bar, which actually is the most hectic probably. So let's go deal with that. So this is what it would look like when it would reach a width of 938 pixels. The nav search, the whole container, would have a border radius of 50%, which would make it circular. A padding of 10 pixels along with that, and the icon in the nav search would also have a border radius of 50%, so circular again. and the input should not be displayed at all. So if I save this, we can go back and see that around 700 pixels, sorry, around 938 pixels, the input field disappears, and this kind of goes into an oval shape. So that's the responsiveness at 938 pixels. And then as we move on around 720 pixels, I want the nav menus to disappear. So let's work on that. So this part is actually pretty simple. After reaching around 720 pixels, the nav mid should not be displayed at all. So if we test that, did I just save it? Yes, I did. So when we test that, when we reach around 720 pixels, you'll see that nav mid disappears. Amazing. So now the final part, we want the avatar to disappear when we reach around 540 pixels. So let's do that right now quickly. And that's it. This was pretty simple as well. Just take the avatar and set it to display none, so they will not be displayed anymore. If we check this now, around 938, the search bar should disappear, and then at 720 the nav menu should disappear, and finally around 540, you see that the avatar disappears. And that, my friend, is how we have together created a fully responsive Facebook navbar clone. You can go ahead and compare this with the original Facebook navbar, and you'll see that except for the icons, almost everything is similar. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry about the background noise, because I'm actually on a pretty bad laptop right now, and my microphone also sucks. So I hope that you still enjoyed watching this video. If you did, then make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more content. And you can, in the comments section, tell me what more you want to learn. Maybe ask for a series of videos, or maybe some beginner tutorials. Maybe you want me to create the whole Facebook site, a clone of the full Facebook site. If you want that, then let me know in the comments below. And the link to the project is actually given in the description. I'll actually leave this link, so you can just come here and go to the editor view, and you can just either play around with the code or maybe copy paste them in your own project. And by the way, this does not necessarily mean that you have to style it with like Facebook. This actually falls inside a pattern of navbar. It's more of an advanced navbar, because generally navbars have a logo on the left side and some navigation menus on the right side, but over here we are actually dividing the navbar into 3 sections instead of 2. So you do not necessarily need to style it like Facebook. You can add your own icons and maybe use it on your own website, or maybe for your clients, or just to show off. So feel free to use this code. And if you've enjoyed this video, then subscribe to my channel, share this with other aspiring developers, and yeah, I'll see you next time.